Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanum, pakhair ragale, ni hao, chunashumme, washmale, ohio gozaimus, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifahal, hale shuma chatore, ahlan basalan marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabiab, and a very amazing good morning to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and are watching World this morning alongside the one and only Shazad Khan. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope and I have firm faith in the fact that everybody out there is superb, is doing great, and have got great energy to go through the day. But it's time to rise and shine, wake and bake, get up, and be more awesome. And to be awesome, all you have to do is think out of the box, have a focused mind, and make sure that you are actually dedicated towards achieving whatever you think is good for you and for the rest of the people who surround you. Which is why the sole reason why I'm saying this is that a lot of times I've seen that people are a little selfish in life because what they want for themselves, they do not want it for somebody else. Please make sure that you actually get rid of this thought because Allah Almighty is actually going to give everybody an equal opportunity until and unless you are actually seeking for it. So this is one thing with which I actually wanted to start the day, and it's going to be a very amazing day for me, ladies and gentlemen, and it's because of the fact that Pakistan is emerging. And I'm not just saying it because of the fact that I'm on Pakistan television. I may be in any part of the world. This is something which I am witnessing right now in 2019, that Pakistan is emerging in each and every field. May it be industry, may it be sports, may it be journalism. Pakistan is progressing and I like it. And for all of those people, I just have a simple message that I do not want people to refer to Pakistan as a third world country. I think that the right word to use is a developing country. And it gives me a feeling that we are on the right track, that we are on the right path as well. And the sole reason why I'm saying it is that just recently, ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan actually broke 3 world records as well. Or in fact, they made 3 new world records. And the record was for the highest road marathon, which actually took place in somewhere around Khunjrab, and there was this ultra marathon, then there was this half marathon, and then a marathon as well. There were 3 different categories, and yes, I believe that we have broken all of these 3 records as well. So this entire thing was actually brought to us by, ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan Air Force, Serena, and the Winter Sports Federation, and alongside that, Z Adventures as well. And ladies and gentlemen, whenever we speak about such amazing activities, I think that it is our responsibility, our social responsibility, to let you know as well that this is what's happening all over the world as well, and within Pakistan, and that a lot of people have actually flown from other countries to Pakistan to participate in this marathon, giving out a message that Pakistan is definitely the land of peace, and it's safe to be over here, and it's safe to run onto the mountains and whatnot. So I'm going to have a very interesting conversation with these amazing guests I have over here, who've actually taken out time, who've actually flown from other countries and made sure that they're going to run for this marathon. It is quite difficult. I think that the ultra marathon is for 50 kilometers. That's quite a lot. I cannot run that much. And then the marathon is for 42.2 kilometers. And then there was this half marathon, which was roughly 20 or 21 kilometers as well. But to get started with the conversation, ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by CEO Z Adventures. He's none other than Mr. Ziad Rahim. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much.
Walaikum assalam, and thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you. Alongside Mr. Ziad, ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by somebody who's actually from Scotland. He's been running marathons, I don't know, ever since he was born, I think, because he's participated in 247 marathons. He's more than 60 years old. He's none other than Mr. Scott McIver. Hi, how are you? It's good to have you over here in Pakistan.
Assalamu alaikum, and good morning from myself, and it's a pleasure to be here, not only in the studio but back in Pakistan.
Thank you very much.
Again.
It's wonderful
Thank
to
you.
have you. And ladies and gentlemen, alongside Mr. Scott McIver, we've actually been joined by somebody who actually hails from United States of America, but then at the same time, she made sure, I think that she's the Iron Lady over here in the studio for today and for the rest of my life at least, because what I have witnessed is very unbelievable because of the fact that she's actually paraplegic as well, and she's participating in marathons, and she's broken a lot of world records herself as well. She's none other than Miss Elizabeth Sandon. Hi, how are you?
Good morning. What a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much for joining us, and you truly are an inspiration for all of us and for all the people who are out there as well. Thank you very much for joining us. It's a wonderful day for us, and for all of those Pakistanis who are out there. They're very excited. That's something I can tell. And alongside Miss Elizabeth, ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by somebody who's actually a cardiologist. So he definitely knows the importance of having a good heart, which is actually functioning, and it's good for life as well. And he was actually running in the marathon too as well. He's none other than Mr. Adnan Afzal. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. I'm doing great.
Thank you very much for joining us. And ladies and gentlemen, for all of these medals they're wearing, it's because of the fact that they finished all of what they started. And then the best part that the first three positions were actually taken by the Pakistanis. Makes me proud again as well. But then other than that, I think that it is about time that we actually pay attention towards all of these activities as well, which are very important. And then at the same time, they send a very strong message in the outer world as well. So let's get the conversation started. I believe that it was your brainchild.
Indeed it was.
How did it all start?
Well, I mean, I've been a marathon runner for the last 18, 19 years.
Wow.
In fact, I started running marathon after I got married.
But you look 20 years old only.
I wish. Yeah, I'm 45.
Wow.
Yeah, but I started running in 2001 and I traveled all over the world. I finished the marathon on all 7 continents.
Wow.
I ended up breaking about 10 Guinness World Records in running. And then the whole idea started. I mean, I visited all these places around the world and I thought there would be no better place than Pakistan to go up and, organize a race.
Yep.
So in 2016, I organized the first marathon in Hunza. And I teamed up with Serena Hotels.
Yep.
And at that time, I got about 2 or 3 marathon runners from abroad to come and participate.
Yep.
And such was the response that the next year, in fact, in 2017, I organized a marathon with PAF and Serena Hotels, and we organized it in Naltar at 11,000 feet.
Wow.
So I brought in about 32 international runners.
Okay.
From about 20 countries. And then this year we stepped it up a little bit more. We decided to go all the way up to Hunjra Pass and organize the highest road marathon in the world.
And it's great. And we have broken a world record, ladies and gentlemen. We've broken 3 world records.
world
And other than that, for all of those runners who were running, have broken some other several records as well. But it's going to take a longer period of time to actually let you know. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, we actually have a small video to share with you guys. And Mr. Ziad over here is actually going to let us know what's happening in the video. And the video is interesting though. Let's go ahead and let's take a look. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, the video definitely looks very promising as well. And so the best part over here is that I was actually contacted by Pakistan Air Force officials as well just before the marathon, and they said that they're going to airlift me in a C-130 and they wanted me to be there to cover it up for them. But unfortunately, since I was signed for another assignment, I couldn't do it. But if you're watching, yeah, probably better luck next time. Yeah, I so wanted to be there. It looks very interesting. Well, let me move on to Scott. So, Scott, tell us a little about yourself and your journey till here, till date.
Well, I hail from Scotland, and my first passion was really mountain climbing,
Okay.
as well as running. And I had the privilege to be here 3 times in the 1990s.
Wow.
So I've actually spent nearly 5 months in Pakistan,
Okay.
climbing towards K2 on Broad Peak, which is the 13th highest mountain in the world.
Yeah.
And I summited Gasherbrum 2 in 1998, which is the 12th highest mountain in the
Yes.
world at 8,000 meters.
Yeah.
So I actually know the Skardu area fairly well. Not so much the Gilgit area, but I've been twice on the Karakoram Highway because we had to take the bus. The planes didn't fly because of the poor weather. So it's a real privilege to revisit Pakistan after nearly 30 years after my first visit and some 21 years after
So after
last being here.
98, you came back in 2019.
I came back, yes, this year.
It's great. So when you got to know about the Highest Road Marathon, what was your first reaction to that?
Well, I'm retired now and I'm living in Cape Town with my wife, and I said, well, I have to do that because my first marathon was the initial Mount Everest marathon in Nepal, and we started that at 5,000 meters.
Okay.
But that's a trail marathon as opposed to a road marathon.
Yeah.
And I met Ziad many, many years ago, and I ended up working in Qatar for 4 years, where he was also based. So we have a good bonding and a good friendship over the years. So when he announced that he was doing this, organizing this marathon at the high altitude, I just had to come. And,
Wow. So it's just great. So I believe that the most difficult part is convincing your wife that I'm actually going to Pakistan to run in a marathon. Was it a little difficult?
No, well, she said, of course you can go. She's very supportive. She's actually a very good runner herself, but she can't do the long distances anymore.
Okay.
And she's been injured over the years. So when I asked her if she wanted to come, she just looked at me and said, no, not this time, but maybe on another occasion.
Wow, that's great. So if you're watching this show, we definitely miss you over here, and we're waiting for you whenever you get better. Please make sure that you join us over in Pakistan as well. But let's move on to Elizabeth. So Elizabeth, tell us a little about yourself as well. And, I definitely have a lot of respect for you for what you're doing, and I believe that you're actually sending out a message that nothing can actually stop you from fulfilling your dreams.
Thank you. Good morning. It's an honor to be here, by the way, just to be able to be invited and come. I'm from California in the U.S., and I was injured 17 years ago practicing in a 50-mile cycling race, and I've previously done a couple of Ironman athletic events, triathlons.
You've broken a lot of Guinness Book World Records as well.
Correct, and I've done a couple of Guinness World Records and some official world records, and in a wheelchair and or doing hand cycle and taking on the challenges. And I want to be able to express and show people that people with disabilities can still do a lot of incredible things if they put their mind to it.
Yeah, and did you actually get a chance to be a part or to do something in Paralympics as well?
I'm not a Paralympian, but I am a USA Triathlon coach and a track and field coach, so I do send a lot of people on to Worlds, Nationals, Worlds, and to Paralympics.
That's great, and it's superb. So let's move on to Mr. Adnan over here. So you are based in the United States of America as well, and so when you got to know that this Highest Road Marathon is going to take place, what kind of feelings did you had? And have you always been a runner, or was it a transition? Or you thought, okay, it might be a good idea, and then it can be a good reason to visit Pakistan?
Well, I started running back in 2001 during last year of my training, which was a bit stressful. So it was a good stress relief to go out for a run.
Yep.
Did my first marathon in 2003. And since then, I have done about 30 or so marathons, started doing triathlons 5 years ago, and have completed 2 Ironman triathlons and 5 half Ironman triathlons. And when I found out about this race, I was super excited. I always have been wanting to do a marathon in Pakistan because I grew up here and I always was curious to see how it would be. So to to make it more interesting, the altitude and then the highest altitude marathon, it was a challenge.
Yeah.
I was not sure if I can get up there and not get sick,
Yeah.
and then let alone complete it. So the great unknown was more challenging. So I'm super excited that I was able to make it up there, get accepted, and then complete. Instead of marathon, I decided to go for an ultra distance of 50 kilometers.
Yeah.
So
That's quite a lot.
yes, it was very exciting, and
Yeah. And
very
now,
happy to be here.
right after watching the video, ladies and gentlemen, now I think that if it was downhill, I think I would have done it too as well. But yeah, I don't think that it was possible for me without any sheer training. But other than that, let's talk about all the position holders as well and their backgrounds. Go ahead, please. Who took the first, second, and third position?
It was all Pakistanis. In the 50K, in the 42K, in the half marathon, all Pakistanis from either Army or GB Scouts.
Yep.
They were the top 3 position winners.
Amazing.
On the female side, we've had the international runners.
Yep.
Heidi Johansson from Denmark, she came first.
Yep.
And in the ultra marathon, Karen Mikkelsen from Canada, she was first.
Okay. And how did you get in touch with all of these marathon runners and then let them know that this is something which we are organizing and that you actually have to be a part of it? How did all of that
Okay,
happen?
so I have a company by the name of Z Adventures, and I organize marathon events all over the world. In fact, my company organizes the most marathons in the most number of countries.
Wow.
So we organize marathons in 45 countries. We do it in segments. So we do the Southern Caribbean Challenge. We take people on a cruise ship, and every country they dock in, they run a marathon.
Wow.
Then I organize challenges in Africa. So the last month we organized the Southern African Challenge,
Yep.
where we ran marathons in South Africa, Lesotho, Swaziland, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, and Namibia in 8 days. All
Wow.
these 7 countries. Then I organize tours in Central Asia. So we run all the stands.
Okay.
Then I've got some upcoming tours to Argentina, Chile, Uruguay, Antarctica. So I have a set of clients who are referred to as the Marathon Globetrotters.
Yep.
And their aim is to run a marathon in as many countries as possible.
Yeah.
And I facilitate it by getting it done in the fastest possible and the cheapest possible time.
Well, that's great and it's super. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that I'm very proud of this gentleman as well, that he's actually taking it to the rest of the world as well, and he's actually giving opportunities to all of the other people to come and be a part of those marathons. And I think that it's great, and this is the way forward, in fact. But other than that, we have another video, and Mr. Ziad is actually going to let us know what's happening. So please go ahead and take a look at this video, and we'll see what's in it. Even I haven't seen it.
So this is the finisher of the full marathon. Again, they're all 3 Pakistanis. These are all the countries where the runners have come from. We had runners from 18 countries, about 41 international runners. And that's the start line at 16,000 feet above sea level. It was an unreal sort of experience, just to drive up in the morning. Before we had some sort of details that the weather is going to be minus 16 or minus 17.
Was it?
No, we were all scared. In fact, all the top weather websites were telling us that the weather is going to be this. But when we went up there, it was close to 0.
Because I've seen people wearing vests as well.
Yep. So as you come down from 16,000 feet to about 12,000, it gets warmer when the sun comes out and it hits you.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people got tanned as well. So, and some got sunburned.
Sunburned.
I think Scott and Elizabeth might even wanted to get a little bit of tan too as well.
Yeah.
Because every now and then when you're traveling, you see white people, right under
Yes.
the sun getting
Yes.
their tans, and,
Yeah.
and they feel awesome if they get a good tan as well. Well, it's great. But other than that, I think that, traveling to such a high can be a little bit of issue. And then, so obviously Pakistan Air Force, Serena, and your own company, and the Winter Sports Federation, they kind of collaborated to make sure that everything was smooth. So before that I ask you, I think I'll actually ask Scott and Elizabeth as well, that how were the arrangements? Do you think that everything was on point, traveling, lodging, or do you think that there were a little bit of hiccups in between?
As far as I was concerned, there were no hiccups.
Wow.
The organization was just absolutely fantastic and astounding. It's unbelievable how well everything ran.
Oh, they're
on
very
the day.
accommodating.
Wow.
And everybody was so very, very friendly and accommodating everywhere
Absolutely.
we went. It was just incredible.
we
Exactly.
felt
So
Really.
when you're going to go back to South Africa, what are you going to share with your kids, grandkids, and your wife or your family members?
Well, I'm going to make a post on my running club and just advise people if they want an adventure run to come to Pakistan.
Wow.
It's one of the most scenic countries in the world, and coming up here in the north, the people are very, very friendly. They will have such a wonderful time, for sure.
Wow. So, which is why that I'm actually going to ask you that. So, for once the marathon started, and while you were running, and you were actually surrounded by some amazing scenes, did you actually lose your focus in between as well? Okay, I should probably sit down for a while, just look at these amazing mountains, and then just start running again.
Well, I started taking pictures after every kilometre, and then I realised I'm going to be all day, with the scenery as spectacular as what it was. So I slackened off after about 4 or 5 kilometres, and I concentrated on the run. But at every water stop, the greetings that we got, from the volunteers was just out of this world, really.
Amazing.
There was plenty of water, fruit juice, fruits to eat, and your favourite vitamin, the apricots and the dates.
Apricots.
Yeah.
And I understand that if you eat lots of apricots, as what a lot of people do in the northern part of Pakistan, you live a lot longer. So I've probably gained a few years and not lost a few years by coming here and doing this run.
Well, that's great, and I think what we really need to do is that just pack some apricots and just send them to South Africa as well with you. So,
Okay, thanks, that's good,
Yeah, and
yes.
you can have it with your wife, because she's missing out on that. But what about you, Beth? So, how was your experience?
It was magnificent. I did, of course, the first couple of 13 kilometers. I was just basically taking pictures as well with my GoPro and
Yeah.
movies, and I just couldn't. With the wonderful runners and being able to capture all the scenery,
Yep.
it was just absolutely incredible.
Exactly. And if you don't mind me asking this, was it the very first time that you actually went to Khunjra Pass in Pakistan?
Correct. That's
Yeah.
the first time I've ever
How
been here.
was it?
It was magnificent. I have never seen anything. The beauty.
Yeah.
The beauty of it and the starkness is just something you won't see anywhere else in the world.
Wow.
And again, you feel the elevation and the
Yeah.
excitement of everything, but the majesty of it was incredible. It was like
Which
heaven.
means that everybody actually needs to go there at
Yes.
least once in their life as well.
Yes, I hope I can bring
Yeah.
people back.
Well, that's great, and we'll be very happy to host them over here.
Thank you.
And what about you, sir? How was it for you? Was it your first time that you went to Khunjra?
It was the first time, and it was a dream come true. It was Gilgit and Baltistan has been on my list of places to visit.
Yep.
And I share the feelings with Scott and Beth. It was one of the best organized marathons I've ever been
Yeah.
or ever participated. I never carry my phone or take pictures during marathons because
Yeah.
I just like to focus on running. But this time I didn't go out to race. I was just there to soak it all in
Yeah.
and enjoy as much as I can and spend as much time as I could.
Yeah.
So I wasn't pushing to run fast. I was just taking pictures like they mentioned.
Yeah.
So it was once in a lifetime experience.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well, that's great. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, we actually have to head out for a short break. You do not have to go anywhere because when you guys will come back, since all of these amazing marathon runners are over here, we should actually ask them about some running techniques because every time I'm on the treadmill, I just lose my breath or I'm out of breath as well. So I think that it'll be, and then they say that you really do not have to have these hands like this. So you just have to have them loose. So let's get these techniques knowing and how we can actually reach out to the maximum, and we'll do that after a short break. Don't go anywhere if you do not want to be out of your breath. Let's do it. Good morning.
Magla Hills, the heaven of Islamabad. the abode of God, a place where you can explore your soul and meet power of natural elegance of mountains. Spread over an area of 12,605 hectares, the Magla Range, the foothills of Himalayas, are youngest hills with an age of 5,000 years old. Magla Hills are home to around 600 plant species, 250 bird varieties, 38 mammals, and 13 species of reptiles. Margla Range is characterized by many valleys, scenic spots, and beautiful water streams, especially in the monsoon months. Famous for their tranquil environment and lush green natural splendor, Margla Hills are a particular source of pride, harmony, and spiritual solace. For the residents of Islamabad, many of whom make it a weekly ritual to scale the various trails to Damaneko and Peer Suhawa. Magla Hills send off its visitors with lasting trail of memories to relish in solitude and provide an escape from the relentless rhythm of life.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. For everybody who just got tuned into PTV while you watching World this morning, alongside Shahzad Khan. Today, ladies and gentlemen, is a very amazing day, and it's because of the fact that Pakistan is emerging, and Pakistan is emerging in almost every field and in every walk of life. And when I say this, ladies and gentlemen, I say this because of the fact that Pakistan just recently broke 3 world records, and that was about highest road marathon, which actually took place over here in Pakistan in collaboration with Pakistan Air Force, Serena Hotels, Z Adventures, and Winter Sports Federation. All of these gentlemen, amazing gentlemen and ladies, they're over here with us, over here in the studios. They're sharing their own views as well, and how great it is to be over here in Pakistan, because a lot of people actually flew in from 18 different countries, if I'm correct. And they're loving it to be over here in Pakistan. For all of those people for whom it was the very first experience, even they're loving it, and they want to bring back more people. So it's going to get bigger, better, and bolder as we, cross the other day as well, or we live by another day. But right now, since I myself, I'm a fitness freak, I try to make sure that I stay fit, stay on top of my game, because I have to be on television. So usually there's this problem which I encounter, and that is that right after the gym and the weights, I feel as if I'm losing my breath, and it's because of the fact that I haven't really trained my lungs for that, and I haven't trained my brain for that too. So since these amazing marathon runners, athletes are over here in the studios, we're going to ask them for some quick techniques as well. So Scott, please take the lead.
Okay, my personal opinion is that half of it's mental and half is physical.
Okay.
If you can get the physical bit right, and that would accommodate doing, I won't recommend running on a treadmill.
Okay.
Part of the fun of running for me is being out in the fresh air. And if you can have wonderful scenery around you, that gives your heart a big lift, and you run better and you run quicker.
Wow, that's good.
Personally, I run a lot of trail runs in South Africa. There's lots of hills, lots of mountains, and that slows you up with the running bit, but it also increases your heart rate up a little bit quicker.
Exactly.
So when I come to do a road run, it doesn't make my running any quicker on the road surfaces, but I can endure longer distances.
Yep.
And if your heart rate gets used to having a steady beat and a steady pace, when you come up to altitude, that's what you need.
Yeah.
when I started the run on Saturday morning, I was quite surprised how quickly out of breath I was after the first kilometre. So I had to slow down my pace just to accommodate, my heart rate and not to get too overheated and too out of breath.
Okay.
So, and then the other half is the mental bit. You need to tell yourself that you can do it. You have the strength and the ability, and to go through the hard bits on the run. Every single run I do, you go through a bad patch.
Yeah.
It might be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, but your brain needs to tell you, keep on going, you'll come out of it, and the finish line will be round the corner, and you've accomplished what you set out to achieve at the start.
Exactly. Well, that's great, but I believe that there needs to be a little bit more to that. I mean, as in for people who run and land on their heels, they're not going to be amazing runners. So people should actually be running on their toes, whether arms should be loose or tightened, the body structure. How does it all work?
Well, everybody's different. Everyone has a different running style. Like my wife runs, it looks to me awkwardly, but that's her style, and she runs actually quite fast.
Yeah.
So she runs on her toes more than I do. I think as you age, you hold back a little bit, so you tend to focus a little bit more on your heels. But if you're a younger runner and you're committed and you run well, you have to adjust your running style. They're professional coaches who can help you, but also vary your training. Don't do the same routes every day. Do a bit of hill repeats. Do speed sessions. Do 5K time trials, and that will help you to become a better runner.
Wow, that's great. So, which is why I'm going to move on to Beth over here, because Beth, you're going to share different experiences as in how you train yourself and how people living in similar conditions can actually train themselves and then take part in such marathons. So please go ahead, share your routine.
Well, I'm quite different from the normal runner because I use my arms as opposed to legs.
Yeah.
Although I do coach quite a few people that are ambulatory, able-bodied people that are training for marathons and as well. But as a wheelchair racer or a hand cyclist, it's a whole different ball game in regards to your training and endurance. Your endurance may take almost 9 months to a year to be able to have the endurance to complete a marathon. So it's a little bit more stressful on the heart. We have found that oftentimes with some studies that we have done back home for cardiac rehab, and people that are paracyclists have participated in it, your heart works almost 4 times harder with your arms doing all the work as opposed to your legs. So it really takes a toll on your heart, and thus the endurance comes as time goes on.
Wow.
But as far as able-bodied people, the correct foot strike typically is not to put the brakes on and always running on your heels, because every time you hit, it's not a ball, I'm sorry, it's not a heel-toe ball or a heel ball toe. It's actually should be from the side to the ball of your feet to the toes that are a lot more springy, and they can thus get your inertia and your momentum going and keep it going with a slight lean in and nice and loose up here, but arms not swinging, but close to you. And I agree with Scott, because I don't like treadmills. I didn't before, and I always like to get outside and breathe the fresh air and see the scenery and all the people that are out there, in regards to, track.
Exactly.
It's just nicer to be outside.
Well, that's great, and which is why, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I'm sorry, but I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity, and since we have a cardiologist over here in the studios, so I'm going to ask him, for some amazing tips to make sure that our heart is in good health. So first things first, do you think being in love is actually good for heart?
I think you need a different kind of physician to answer that question.
No, but still, just like that. I'm
That's
just
great.
asking.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. So, ladies and gentlemen,
Fall
please
in
make
love.
sure to spread love with everybody who's out there as well.
That's great.
But then eventually, what do you think are the most common mistakes people make that they actually end up having heart failures, God forbid, or heart attacks?
Well, heart disease, as you know, is the #1 killer all over the world.
Yep.
Some of the common mistakes or common reasons to have heart disease is what we put inside our bodies.
Yep.
Eating dead animals is not usually a good idea if you do not want to have heart disease. So I tend to preach a more vegetarian/vegan diet.
Okay.
if you want to lower your risk of having a heart attack. Then regular exercise, moderate exercise, 45 minutes to an hour, 5 days a week, has shown to significantly lower your risk of having heart disease. Definitely avoiding smoking is a good idea. So those are just some of the common basic things that can help lower the risk of having heart disease.
And that's great. And ladies and gentlemen, we definitely want you to follow all of these advices, and it's because of the fact that it's going to be better for you, your family, and the rest of your life, you know. So please make sure to look after yourself. But very quickly, before we wrap up the show, we have the last 5 minutes. So next time, whenever the marathon's taking place, you're coming back, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
The only regret I have is not coming here earlier and spending a bit more time. It would have been nice to have done a trek around the Gilgit area. So I'm just waiting for Z to organise or to announce that he's organised next year's run, and I'll be back for sure.
Well, that's great.
And I'll take my wife with me next time.
Yeah, and we'll interview her as well. You know, that's a promise I'm making on her as well. But very quickly, what did you like the most if we talk about cuisines over here in Pakistan?
Well, just the variety we had. You know, the dal and the lentils.
Yeah.
You know, it's very healthy. Just everything we ate, we had plenty of, really. There's nothing specific I can mention for a particular dish, but it was just the variety that you have here.
And it's perfectly all right, because a lot of people who actually travel to Pakistan, ladies and gentlemen, and whenever I ask them this question, you know, the first answer is biryani. But because they're marathon runners, I don't think that they can actually have biryani, you know, so they really have to look after their diets. Is that correct?
You know, we've been taken care of by Serena Hotels on this trip. We've stayed at the Serena in Islamabad, in Gilgit.
Yeah.
I can tell you the general consensus about runners is they'll all go back to their countries about 3 or 4 kilos heavier. This is the amount of food we've been eating over the last 1 week.
Wow, that's good. Beth, what about you?
Oh, it's been very tasty food here. I can't get enough of it. But I want to bring people back here because I think it's an incredible country, and the hospitality of everyone, everybody's been so kind. And I just appreciate that because, again, I pack a little bit more extra luggage, and people, again, have always helped out. And
Well, that's great, and thank you very much for joining us as well. But before we wrap up the show, so when's the next marathon and what's going to happen next? Z Adventures. Come on.
Well, we've got big plans for Pakistan next year. We've got 2 locations. Either we're going to take runners to the Skardu side and run a marathon on the second highest plains in the world, the Deosai Plains.
Okay.
And the other marathon that we're organizing would be in collaboration with China. So this time we're going to start the race from inside China, maybe like a kilometer inside China. So that would be a Pakistan-China friendship run. It's all going to be finalized over the next few months, but it's going to be bigger, better,
And bolder.
And bolder.
Well, that's great. Thank you very much for joining us. It was wonderful to have you, and it was definitely a proud moment for me to have hosted you over here in the studios as well. And please continue to strive for excellence and make sure that you bring a lot more world records onto the table. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that it is our social responsibility to support and promote such ventures, because they definitely bring back a good name to our country, and this is what they have done. And we're very proud of you as a nation. We are very proud of you as human beings. We are very proud of you as individuals. Please keep on doing what you're doing, because you're good at it as well. And for all of those people who are out there, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you write to us on our Facebook page, which is with the name of World This Morning. On Twitter, it's World This Morning without a G. On Dailymotion and YouTube, it's World This Morning or PTB World, and then you can find the link in the bio too as well. And the repeat's going to be at 11 p.m. tonight. Till the next time, 1, 2, 3. Good morning.